There are a lot of good happenings at CARTA this month. In this special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with CARTA Chairman and City of Charleston Councilman Mike Seekins. Well, Mike Seekins.
How are you? Happy holidays.
Likewise, it's what, 3 days before Christmas?
That's right, 3 days away.
Wow.
Hard to believe, it's been a year gone by.
And speaking of Christmas, CARTA is really in the business of being generous.
Well, it's been a really interesting year for CARTA, as it has been for the region. And, you know, CARTA, I think, is a place that we're going to see some growth and leadership in the community in 2017 between the half-cent sales tax being enacted and put in place in 2017. Right. We've had some good work with the state. The $500,000 Marlon Kimpson was able to secure that we parlayed into $1.4 million in hard goods for CARTA between shelters and buses. And then the public-private partnership, which has been really exciting to me, that came this week, where the private sector really stepped up and said, we've got some needs in Charleston, we want to partner with CARTA and bring people to the basic necessities, food, prescriptions, and underwriting, not just 1, but now 6 months of the Route 20 between the Bilo and the food line is amazing. And Mickey Bask and his team really need to be commended. It's amazing. We started the press conference yesterday with a one month donation. When we were done, we had 6.
Wow.
We've raised over $50,000. And the goal is to run the 20 for free for the next year, challenge other people in the community to help us do that, and then come up with a long-term permanent solution.
Let me break down a lot of what you just said.
Sure. That was a lot, sorry.
No, you're good. I want to take it back to December 9th. As you know, the Charleston City paper actually said this: private donors keep the wheels rolling on free shuttle following Bilo closure. When you think back to Bilo closing, to the free shuttle going on right now, what is the biggest thing that sticks out to you?
Well, when the Bilo closed, and you know, they accelerated their closing. They announced they were going to close, and they just closed all of a sudden. The CARTA board, which as you know is made up largely of publicly elected officials, immediately acted unanimously to run that Route 20 for free. It was very successful. The business of the food line, we understand, has gone up. Our ridership on Route 20 went up. We extended from 1 month to 3. And you know, look, running buses is expensive. We couldn't do it for free forever under our current model and our current funding. Right. So what really sort of gets me about all this is it's unfortunate we've lost the Bilo. We as a community need to think about that and think about development and growth and bringing groceries to that part of the community. But for the time being, I think CARTA, along with the private sector, has really reacted in a way that is fantastic, and the community is using it. So it's great. Well, I'm going to continue to be a loud voice for making sure that people have access.
Speaking of being a loud voice, let's talk about the 526 dinner. Some people are for it, some people are against it. As we sit here right now, what are you for?
Well, so look, as we sit here right now, 526 to me is more code than a road. When we say we've got a 526 problem, we do. We have a transit problem and a transportation problem. We have a problem moving around. We're at gridlock in a lot of places. Johns Island, James Island, getting around in West Ashley. The problem with 526 as a road rather than code is it's not going to get built anytime in the near future. No matter what happens in terms of funding, political will, there are so many steps to go. There's not even really a design of it yet. Now, if we came up with some funding for real and true relief, particularly in West Ashley, we could start some projects tomorrow. Fly over the end of the James Island Connector, 17 in Maine, widen Maybank Highway, pitchfork some areas. Let's get some real mobility going, tied in with public transit, and pretty soon you've got some real relief out there. I don't see any path right now for 526, the road, to be built anytime in the next decade. But I certainly think we have a 526 code problem, that code being we need relief, we need action, and we need it now. And I challenge everybody out there, leaders, citizens alike, let's get moving on this. It's time.
You know, I asked Brantley and Bill Moody when I did the joint interview with them a couple weeks ago, and I think I asked Cogswell this yesterday morning when I interviewed him. But I asked them, both of them, this: who is that person who can articulate this to the State Infrastructure Bank Board?
Well, I think anybody who has a vision and who's ready to go to work can articulate it to not just the State Infrastructure Bank Board, but anybody else. I mean, what we need to do, I think, as a community, is get together, get with the State Infrastructure Bank, get with the county, get with state leaders and say, Charleston and the Charleston region has some real needs. Here's what they are. Point to them, touch them. I just don't think if you go in a block and say, it's just this thing called 526, it's become toxic. It's become divisive. It has become problematic. And it's not something that I mean, there's not even a design for it. As we sit here today on December 22nd of
Right.
2016, we have no design, we're not really sure where it's gonna go, no permits are out there, no environmental studies have been done, nothing. It's just this concept. Well, I have a concept, and that is we need relief over there and other places, not just there. And we need to start working tomorrow. If we stick with just a single project, unlikely the relief is coming soon enough for anybody who's stuck every day in an area that just doesn't have good, viable routing.
You talk about concept. What in your mind is your concept for the West Ashley bike lane?
Well, you know, I've been a big proponent of the West Ashley bike lane. I think we need to have it. I know there's some resistance to it.
Right.
First off, the concept of the West Ashley bike lane, I don't like the fact it's called a bike lane. It's
Okay.
a connection. It's connectivity in multi-modes, biking, pedestrian. It links two parts of the city. You should be able to get from West Ashley to downtown
Right.
and vice versa safely on any mode of transit or your feet if you choose. It links a community. Right now, that river divides a community,
Right.
that project is dividing a community. Again, it's something that we need to work on and do it. It needs to get done. I think we have some other options, and I would love to talk about those other options, but right now, we have voted for it in place. It is the most expeditious and certainly the cheapest way to do it. It will work. It's not going to create gridlock. Is it a long-term solution? No. But we need a solution now to show that the Charleston region is ready to join the 21st century and think in ways other than one person, one car, four tires.
What's your message to Charleston County Council?
Message to Charleston County Council is the same as everybody else. Let's do this project.
Let me turn to refurbished bikes. CARTA has partnered with Affordable Bike.
It's been really fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Talk to me more about that.
Well, amazingly, every now and then somebody leaves a bike behind. And we sort of had a stockpile of bikes, and we certainly did our best to investigate, try to identify who
Right.
the bikes belong to.
Right.
Some were in better shape than others, and over time we amassed quite a number of either full or partially functioning bikes. And we took those bikes, partnered up with a Florida bike, put them together, and we're using them to give to our riders. And it's been wildly successful. Look, as you know, the bus comes from point to point, it goes from point to point. Some people have to get to that
Right.
point. Sometimes it's a decent distance. So being able to provide bikes to people, to link them between where they're coming from and where they're going to is fantastic. It's been really rewarding. And we're going to try to expand that program. Anyone that's got a bike out there wants to donate it, we'll take it. We will fix them up and we will get them to our riders.
You know, we're heading into 2017. A lot of big issues are going to be happening here in
It's going to be
Charleston.
an amazing year in this area.
Well, how about Charleston City Council?
It's going to be an amazing year in Charleston City Council. It's been an amazing year in Charleston City Council.
You guys have been quite relatively quiet.
Well, it's been quiet. We certainly have had our differences. We've talked about a lot of things.
Right.
I think, in 2017, we need to implement some of the things we've been talking about this year. The West Ashley Redevelopment Commission is in place. We've identified a consultant that we think will do a good job, that will look at West Ashley not just as an area, but as a part of a bigger picture, a bigger area, the city, the county. So that's going to be part of what we're doing. We've got some challenges with growth and tourism, as you know, that we're going to have to manage, and transportation. We really are going to have to look at CARTA, buses, routing, remote parking. What do we do with people who work on the peninsula that can't afford to park, aren't driving here?
Right.
How do we get them in and out
Right.
safely, efficiently, at times when they're actually needing us in the morning, late at night? So I think 2017 is a time of implementation, having a strategy long-term to implement transit, transportation, make sure West Ashley is where it needs to be, and grow as a city.
You know, last week the guilty verdict was handed down to no, he's not accused anymore, but the Emmanuel Amy shooter.
Yes.
Where were you emotionally with that?
You know, as we're sitting right now between the state court and the federal court
Right.
for the last month, it's really been a place of gathering for a lot of people, including law enforcement.
Right.
The trials have been going on, both with Slager and the Emmanuel Nine. It's been a journey for all of us, for sure. I remember the night that it happened as if it was yesterday, as I know you do, and
Right.
the people watching.
Right.
And for me, the journey always comes back to the families and how heroic they've been, how courageous they've been, how graceful they've been, how gracious they've been. And knowing that they had to sit again in real time graphically through this trial was difficult. And it was interesting to be here on this corner when the verdict was returned. A quiet came out over the street. It was really quiet. You could sense that something had happened. And it's just another step in the process of a community healing through these heroic families. Still a ways to go, but glad that that portion is behind us.
Councilman Mike Seekins, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Thanks.
this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.